Corruption, do we say it has come to stay? I don't think it has come to stay because over the years we've seen an increase. It started from somewhere, it has gradually gotten a hold of virtually every facet of the Nigerian system or Nigerian economy, or rather Africa, even the world. I think since it started from somewhere, there's a possibility that this can be addressed. Corruption is a pervasive issue that significantly hampers the development of many nations, particularly in developing countries. In such societies, corruption often manifests as the abuse of power for personal gain, and it permeates various sectors, including politics, business, and public service. Just like a weed that chokes the life out of a plant, corruption stifles economic growth, impedes social progress, and erodes public trust in institutions. In the context of developing countries, this challenge becomes even more pronounced as it exacerbates existing vulnerabilities and hinders efforts towards modernization. One of the most glaring ways corruption affects development is through the misallocation of our resources. In many countries, large sums of money that should be used for infrastructure, healthcare, and education and social welfare are instead siphoned off into the pockets of corrupt politicians or corrupt officials. For example, in Nigeria, public funds earmarked for the construction of roads or provision of healthcare services are often diverted, resulting in poorly built infrastructures and inadequate public services. This mismanagement of resources means that essential services are not provided to the people, leaving them to suffer from substandard healthcare, dilapidated roads, and a lack of basic amenities. Moreover, corruption also stifles foreign investment. When businesses and investors perceive a country as being corrupt, they are hesitant to invest their resources, fearing that their investment will either be stolen or subject to extortion by corrupt officials. This lack of investment in turn limits job creation and economic growth. A vivid example of this is the case of many African nations where foreign companies are often required to pay bribes to gain contracts, stalling economic progress. Investors are more likely to look for safer, more transparent environments, thus depriving these countries of the capital and expertise they need for development. Corruption also perpetuates inequality as it favors the wealthy and powerful while marginalizing the poor. When public funds are diverted by the elite, the most vulnerable segment of society are the ones who suffer the most. In countries where corruption runs deep, you often see the rich becoming richer while the poor remain trapped in cycle of poverty. In countries like Kenya and Uganda, where corruption is rife, the effects on poverty are visible as the funds that could have been used to provide education, healthcare, and social services are instead embezzled by politicians and government officials. The way forward for developing countries in combating corruption lies in a multi-pronged approach. First, strengthening institutions and enforcing transparency is key. Government must put in place robust anti-corruption framework that ensure accountability at all levels. For instance, the establishment of agencies like the Nigeria Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has been a step in the right direction, although more must be done to ensure these institutions are truly independent and free from political influence. Additionally, there must be a concerted effort to educate the public about the dangers of corruption and the importance of good governance. Grassroots movements, media, and civil society organizations can play a pivotal role in spreading awareness and mobilizing the populace against corruption. Citizens must recognize that corruption affects not only their nation's progress, but their personal lives as well. Finally, international cooperation is essential. Corruption most often involves cross-border networks that move illicit funds out of a country, making it essential for developing countries to collaborate with international organizations to trace seize stolen assets. By strengthening international laws and sharing intelligence, countries can prevent corrupt practices from spreading beyond their borders. In conclusion, corruption remains one of the most significant barriers to the development of modern nations, especially in developing countries. Its widespread impact on economic stability, social equity, and governance cannot be ignored. However, with comprehensive reforms, institutional strengthening, public education, and international collaboration, these nations can break free from the chains of corruption and move towards a more prosperous and equitable future. As the African proverb says, a single bracelet does not jingle, meaning that true progress can only be achieved when everyone comes together to combat corruption and build a better future. The question there is, what are you doing about corruption? Are you part of the system? Do you encourage corruption or do you encourage corrupt officers? If we all can put our hands together, Africa as a continent will be better off. We're going to see you in our next video.